What's up everyone, Darcblade here with another Hunter's Guide to Monster Hunter Wilds. In this episode we will be demonstrating and explaining what the Gogma Artian Weapons are all about. We will also be recapping what the normal Artian Weapons are as well, so let's jump into this. Now with the introduction of Gogma Artian to Monster Hunter Wilds, we now have the option to create Gogma Artian Weapons, taking the existing Artian weapon system and making it even more potent, increasing the reinforcement bonuses that we can find on the weapons, as well as implementing armor skills onto those weapons as well. But first let's recap. Now what are Artian Weapons? Well, Artian Weapons are basically custom crafted weapons. Taking on 7-star quests or certain event quests, you'll be rewarded with Artian parts. These can then be taken to the smithy and you're able to craft Artian weapons from those parts. Now the Artian parts you get are broken up into different pieces of a weapon. For example, broken blades, broken discs, broken devices, so on and so forth. Each weapon requires a certain number of these in order to be crafted. You need 3 in total. Also, you have to consider what you want on your Artian weapon. Do you want it to be infused with an attack bonus or affinity bonus? You can mix and match or fully infuse your weapon with attack or affinity. There is also the elemental type that you have to take into consideration. You can infuse it with any of the elements as well as ailments, but in order to get the full effect of that said ailment or element, you need to have 3 pieces that feature the same element or ailment. So if you want a fire weapon, it needs to contain 3 Artian pieces that have the fire element attached to it. If you were to mix and match and put different elements into the Artian weapon you want to craft, it results in an elementalist weapon. There are also certain aspects that you have to consider when it comes to forging weapons that have unique mechanics. When it comes to these unique aspects, you have to consider the coatings when it comes to the bow, the heavy and light bowguns, you have to consider the ammunition types you get, the insect glaive, you have to consider the kinsect bonus, the charge blades, you have to consider the file types. Same with the switch axes, its file type can change depending on what you infuse your Artian weapon with. The gun lance, its shelling types can change, and the hunting horn can have different songs. So keep this in mind when crafting your Artian weapon. Anyway, once you've input all the pieces that you want into your Artian weapon, you can craft it at different rarities. The different rarities mainly dictate the decoration slots on the weapon and starting sharpness. To be honest, it's not really worth creating anything other than a rarity 8 Artian weapon, so keep this in mind. Anyway, once your Artian weapon is crafted, you can enhance it with reinforcement bonuses. By talking to the smithy and going to reinforce Artian weapons, you can infuse the Artian weapon of your choice with reinforcement bonuses by using certain special ores. The ores can be obtained from zoos for monster materials if you're lacking in them, or you can get them from other means like event quests. Anyway, infusing these ores into your Artian weapon will grant them random reinforcement bonuses. You can have up to 5 of them. These can include attack boosts, elemental boosts, affinity boosts, sharpness boosts, or ammo capacity boosts. Obviously the ammo capacity and sharpness is dictated on what weapon you are using. You can also dismantle your Artian weapons to re-roll the reinforcement bonuses if you got reinforcement bonuses you weren't happy with. However, dismantling them now is no longer really needed thanks to the introduction of the Gogma Artian system, which we'll now move on to talk about. Now, with the introduction of Gogma Artian, the monster doesn't actually give you any special weapon per se. Instead, it gives us a whole new system added onto the Artian weapon system known as the Gogma Artian Weapons. This, we take special devices, tarred devices, that we earn from the Gogma Artian hunt, and we can turn our normal Artian weapons into Gogma Artian Weapons. Once you select an Artian weapon you want to upgrade, you'll be prompted to select a tarred device, either attack focused, affinity focused, or element focused. They come in different colors, these aren't different rarities. Attack is red, affinity purple, and element blue. These will increase whatever aspect you chose, so the attack focused device will increase the attack of the Artian weapon you select, affinity focus will do the affinity, and element will do the elemental value of whatever you selected. This also applies to the ailment if you're using an ailment weapon, so it's not tied to just elements. So once you've selected the tarred device you want to use, you'll be prompted to pay some money and upgrade the Artian weapon to a Gogma Artian weapon. To upgrade to a Gogma Artian weapon, you simply have to do this by talking to the smithy and selecting upgrade to Gogma Artian Weapons. This will obviously increase the stats of the weapon and grant it 2 active skills. These skills though are random, so it's not guaranteed what skill you get. These skills though are taken from other areas of the game, namely they're skills that are found on set bonuses from our armor. We are granted 1 set bonus skill and 1 group skill. The set bonus skill is normally found on 1 specific armor type, while the group skills can be found on multiple armor types. Now, whilst you can't choose what skill you get, you can re-roll it if you want to. This you do by talking to the smithy and going to Reinforce Gogma Artian Weapons. In the Reinforce Gogma Artian Weapons screen, you'll notice there are 2 tabs at the top, Gogma Reinforce and Reset Skills. We'll talk about Gogma Reinforce in a moment, but like I said, if you're not happy with the active skills, you can go to Reset Skills. Select the weapon you want to reset the skills on, and from there you'll be prompted to input more tarred devices to re-roll the skills. Please note that it seems that the active skills can only be skills found on armor pieces and not from other weapons. But anyway, say you've got an active skill that you're happy with, or you're not too interested in the active skills, you can move on to the next portion of the Gogma Artian weapon system, which is the Gogma Reinforce. This takes the reinforcement bonuses found on your weapons and enhances them even further. When selecting a weapon, you'll be presented with 2 options: to amend and keep the bonuses, the reinforcement bonuses found on the weapon, or to amend and reset the bonuses. The reset eliminates the need to completely dismantle Artian weapons in all honesty now. So you select whichever you want. If you're not happy with the reinforcements, you can go reset, and then you'll be prompted to add various ores or Gogmasios materials into the weapon to either increase the reinforcements you already have or re-roll them with the applied increased stats. Now these stats can vary, they come in different levels, but there is a chance to get your stats at an EX level, meaning the highest level it can be. You can have up to 5 EX reinforcement bonuses on your weapon, but this has some restrictions. There can only ever be 2 EX bonuses of any one type. So for example, there can only ever be 2 elemental EX bonuses. If there are more elemental boosts on the weapon, these can be anywhere from 1 to 3. They can't be a 3rd element boost EX. However, as I mentioned, you can get your weapons to have 5 EX bonuses on them. There just has to be a lot of variety, as in no more than 2 of any one reinforcement boost. So you could have 2 elemental boosts at EX, 2 attack boosts at the EX level, and then 1 additional one at the EX level. EX reinforcement boosts may not be the most optimal for some builds, so I wouldn't stress about going for all 5. Get at least 2 that you really want and go from there. It is hard to get all 5, it's very rare. Most of the time I would recommend going for 3 or 4 EX boosts, depending on your personal needs and what you want with your builds. Lastly, there seems to be a secret hidden seed mechanic behind the Gogma Artian weapon system, where if you keep rolling the same weapon over and over again, the chances of you getting what is considered a rarer skill can be achieved. If you are to switch weapons and start rolling on another Gogma Artian weapon though, the seed resets apparently. So, there we have it. That is the Gogma Artian weapon system that has been introduced to Monster Hunter Wilds. It is a little bit of a grind, I'm not going to lie, but being able to re-roll the reinforcement bonuses and the active skills is a welcome addition. If you are struggling for auricalcite or other materials to put into the Gogma Artian weapon rolling system, you can always go to Azu's, talk to the smelting foundry, and convert your spare and unwanted monster materials, turning them into auricalcite. This is probably the easiest way to get materials to use on the Artian and Gogma Artian reinforcement systems. But what are your thoughts? Are you happy with the Artian weapon system and the Gogma Artian weapon system, or is it too much of a grind? Please leave a comment down below, and until next time, I've been Darcblade, bringing you another Hunter's Guide to Monster Hunter Wilds. Hope you enjoyed it, thanks for watching, subscribe and like for more.